Hey everyone, I'll just be running the Desch event, Chaos, and going for a low turn run using my usual team of Lotta, Alisaie, and Sazh with Brothers Summon for this one. Just a bit about the team comp. I was lucky enough to pull Alisaie's kit on Shantoto's event when she just came out and have been really enjoying using her. Unfortunately, didn't have the resources to pull Alisiaie, another amazing low turn character, but Sazh is a buff extender and Charlotta's 20% HP damage really shine with fast characters like Alisaie. Brothers just for the max brave. Turn my low power mode off. And for friend, usually use Amidalian. Sorry, Amidalian. So we'll just take Ember Storm's Amidalian here. And here we go. So first wave, when you're playing low turns, you really just want to burst them down. Here I'm going to use Sats S2 because they're not debuffed, so he doesn't grant the buff with S1 during debuff, so I'll use S2 here. Break in order. That's just good practice. Alisaie didn't have her buff up to extend, but it's a good habit to have. I could have maybe used S1, but S2 is also a free turn skill, and you're going for as low turns as you can go. So using all of Sats S2 will be key. So here I'm going to use Charlotta's just for HP plus. And you actually just want Charlotta to take as few actual turns as possible to give Alisaie and Sats the most turns, and have Charlotta's buff just be running in the background. So I am just going to burst down B, use Alisaie EX. And then here's where the fun starts. So with a buff extender, what I'm going to do is check turns. Hopefully she doesn't jump up. I'm going to get my dual cast buff up. Splash damage, so I'm going to attack A here. And then we use Sats, perfect. Now A is targeting Alisaie and don't want her to get broken, so we're going to use attack boost. S2, battery Alisaie, and extend her dual cast one turn. I don't worry that Sats is going to get broken here. So now we have 2 turns of dual cast, and so I'm free to use a non-dual cast granting skill. So Alisaie can use Thunder. I'm pretty much going to stick to S2 because of splash damage. It really makes a difference over the course of the entire fight. It builds up, so I'm going to break in order. S2. And then here I'm going to use EX as a pass-through. Essentially, you can use anytime EX up, you can use EX. It regrants one use of dual cast, so there's almost no penalty for using EX. And then what I'll do is use her S2 again. Now this will regrant me a new stack of dual cast. It's important because Sats can only extend each existing buff once, so it's important that it's a new one. So here I'm going to use attack boost again to refresh the buff there. You can see it went to 2 now. And finally Charlotta gets 1 turn. And again, we're going to be HP plusing here. Now you've got to be careful and watch the summon gauge, because you're going to want to summon at the end of wave 1. And this is because you can avoid certain mechanics of the boss on wave 2. So we're going to watch how fast that's building up and make sure it gets pretty close to full before we kill these bosses as much as possible. So here we'll have Charlotta's HP plus. And Alisaie EX should be up. Oh, 1 more turn, but she has 2 casts, so what I can do is just use S2. They're both targeting Charlotta, that should be fine. Now her EX should be up. We're going to break in order. and then regrant, and always check to see, and looks like she will be behind Sats. That's important because we want Sats to be able to extend that buff. Outbreak B, and perfect. Now we can use S1 for Sats if we want. We have 6 uses. I'd like to go into Wave 2 with about 5 uses. So we're going to use S2 again, especially because it also will battery Charlotta a little bit. We also have the sap on, so she should have about 25k before the next hit. So with the 2, always check your dual cast. With 2, I'm just going to attack B, who has more HP, kind of whittle them down evenly. Fine there. And you can see we're about 3/4 of the way to summon, so I just want to be careful to make sure we have enough. I'm going to use, here I'm going to use Sats, let's see. Actually, it doesn't matter because Alisaie's buff has already been extended, so let's take a look at where this puts him and where this puts him. Okay, we definitely want to do this because it puts him ahead of Alisaie, so I can extend if needed. So I'm going to break A here. B, sorry. There we go. And because they're attacking Charlotta, it doesn't matter, I can just break here anyway. So look at the summon. This may kill, so I have to be very careful. Thankfully, Charlotta has a lot of, yeah, it did, free turn skills, and what you can do is spam her skills to get summoned. So check this out. So I'm going to recast and get another dual cast here. Now, this is perfect. What I'm going to do here is just spam Charlotta S1. You can see the summon bar should be creeping up. There it goes. Uh-oh. I may need to use one more. Oh, well, I had to use 4. That's not ideal. Burning 4 skills is... Oh, I can use her EX. That's actually perfect. The 3 and EX, not ideal. 2 would have been better. But... Oh, didn't do it. So I do have to use 4. But there it is. There's summon. So you need to do this. Otherwise, your low turn run will essentially be over. The bosses, or on the next wave, will just diminish the amount of damage you can do. So here I'm going to use summon. And it doesn't matter. I'll save the S2 here and just use Hurl Staff. Going here. Now, the goal here is to delete as many turns with Amiditelian. I always say Amiditelian because that's kind of how it looks in the Japanese pronunciation. I'm a Japanese speaker, but it's Amiditelian. So here I'm going to switch out Sats. I could extend Alisaie's buff, and you can play it kind of by ear, but here I'm going to take Sats out because I want Amiditelian to get as many turns as possible in summon, because summoning doesn't take up actual turns. You can see the turn count 5 there. So I'm going to use her LD, sorry, their LD. It's actually they, a genderless pronoun. And then I'm just going to, now the rotation goes a little bit different, but because we're in summon, we're still okay to use S2. It won't take up an actual turn, so we're just going to use S2 for splash. And we're just going to use one S2 for Charlotta here, because she's full, and it should do a reasonable amount of damage. I don't think I'll be able to get 4 full S2s out in the turn count anyway, so using 1 should be fine. Again, you use Alisaie's EX when it's up as a pass-through. Great damage and summon. And here I'm actually going to consider using a Verstone. Conserve a use of Refire. Oh, I'll use Refire. It's a free turn, so either way, Verstone or Refire would be kind of wasting that free turn, but I just need to have the splash damage and push hard. So, here, because I have Verstone up and it's free, I'm going to essentially use this as a pass-through as well. I'm barely ever going to use Verstone, but here I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I have it. Sats isn't up, I can't extend the buffs, so I'm going to take that free turn there and then continue to just spam a Mediterranean here. Let's use all of their LDs, and then just continue to use Alisaie. Don't really know the order anymore, so just use the EX break here. Then we'll of course be using for Thunder, free skill. This does take a turn though, so always be aware of the Thunder and Arrow variants. Even though you may be able to use them on a free turn, they do take an actual turn. So the skill use is free, but the turn is not free. I'm sorry, I used free turn, but here I'm going to use Lotta S1. Get her EX buff back up. Maybe the most important thing you need to do is make sure Charlotta's EX buff doesn't fall off. And then here I'm going to definitely be using a S2 with full brave. So again, use for fire. Hopefully get her EX back up next turn. I'm going to use the last use of Alisaie LD. Great damage, 100k each. EX buff up. And just kind of switching targets. So that the splash and kind of rotating targets will help me kill them together. Because they enrage, it really can cost you about a turn at the end. If you can't kill them roughly at the same time, you about lose a turn or so sometimes, just because their brave reduction gets very high at the end. So I'll do this here. Now check my buffs, 5 and 3 for Charlotta. This will not put me at EX with 1 skill use, so I'm going to instead, I only have 3 because I wasted 1 on the first wave. Otherwise I've used 2 Light of the Crystals to get our EX buff back up. Instead I have to use a Hurl Staff here. So Jolt combo, EX. And just keep using your Thunders for fires because of the splash damage. You know, it adds up. If you, for instance, say are using 10 or 15 of the skills, that's 40k, 400,000, 450,000 damage over the fight. So it really adds up. Here is what we're gonna do. We have 2 skills left. You have a choice. EX does more damage. But what I'm going to do is use S2 to delete a turn, and actually before I do that I'm going to actually use this regen here. That way I get 1 more turn deletion, but I don't have to use the 5th turn of the friend. This is important because you want to maximize Satz's buff extension as well as his free turns, so you actually want to get Ami out as soon as possible. So here I'm going to use the AA to waste a turn essentially, and then I'm going to just delete A's turn. Don't really know which to delete, so you just pick one. Break A and use A's turn. Damage is not as good, but I'm counting on Sats coming back soon to be able to really push the free turn. So here we're going to use for fire. Into Jolt combo and just keep on rotating to kind of get them down together so that now let's see, into Thunder, and once Sats comes back, then I'm really going to be able to get back into my free rotations. So with 3 Verfires, I'm a little bit worried I might run out, so I will just gamble and go for it. Low turns is all about just pushing the envelope. Here for sure, get the EX buff back up, and you can see I won't have quite full brave, so I'm going to use the free AA. It doesn't take the turn. And then even though the buff ran out, I can just extend it here. And now I have the maximum damage I can get for her S2. So I've got 2 left and exactly enough Light of the Crystals that I can get probably 1 more full rotation with the number of turns that Alisaie and Sats are going to take. So this is perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break A and then extend her dual cast. get that free turn. Beautiful. Sazh is resisted. You're not relying on him for the damage at all. Sazh is mainly just there to provide auras, to provide buffs, and to extend Alisie's buffs more importantly. And he's fast. And he has 9 free turns, which is insanely useful if you don't have Ultimisia, for instance. Here I've got 2 uses of dual cast, so I can easily just use an S2. And then again, here I don't actually need to use S2. Sorry about that, my mic kind of went off. I'm using a wireless headset, so part of the interruption. So now we're back. As I was saying, that you don't need to use Sazh's buff extension here because you can't. This is still the old dual cast. So I might actually consider using an S1. It takes a turn, but it saves a free use of the S2. I think I'd run out. Either way, I don't think it really matters. So here I'm going to use S1. And now what I need to do is to extend my dual cast. Unfortunately, Sazh did not jump ahead, so I don't think. So there's a launch, and unfortunately, it's not a very good launch. However, I can preserve the other launch by skipping my EX and using a splash damage skill, which will preserve the second launch. So I'm going to do that instead. Otherwise, I would lose that launch. So I'm going to use for Thunder here. So here, Lotta is going to dump, and then Sazh, unfortunately, was very low brave, but 275. Yeah, more brave than 275. So, and here, you can see he is launchable. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to 2 S2s. Hopefully it doesn't run out. Good. Get my EX buff back up. I think it should stick, so I am going to use my last S2 here, get a really big hitting one, and get a nice big launch. Right? Oh, it ran out. So it did run out, unfortunately. I tried. I maybe potentially could have gotten a few turns off with that, but well, you know, that's. Oh, and it's back. So Sazh is actually, this is actually pretty good. The attack boost, I can battery as well. So this is going to be a pretty good launch. Not the best, but not the worst either. You can see he had all that brave built up. Alisaie, Lotta 17k, not too bad. So you can still see it's about 220. 220, not too bad. Those are really going to be the difference between, you know, 1 or 2 turns right there. So here I'm going to break there. I'm expecting about 25 to 26 turns on this run. Not the best, but not the worst either. I'm using for fire here. So now I can get back into my extension pack. There's the buff right there. Perfect. 19 turns. You can see, as I said before, I'm pretty close to running out of skills on Alisaie. In terms of her splash damage, this will be pretty close. But we'll find out. Still have 1, and good. This should work. Sazh should be able to extend her here. And this is perfect. He still has a free turn here. So Lotta's basically done. I'm going to use, let's see, 4 turns left. She should be fine. Just going to fill up on Brave a little bit, and then he has a little bit more life, so I'll use Hurl Staff on him. Just kind of chip away. Even though it doesn't look like they have a lot of life, they still have quite a lot of life here, so we are going to be very close to the 25 that I was shooting for. Because Sazh is out of free skills as well. So I haven't been using my AA. Probably should have been using my AAs for Alisaie as well. She's been hitting Cap pretty hard, so I definitely want to. I think this can be extended. Let's find out. Actually, no. I think it's already so. Doesn't really matter. Here, then, what I'll do is attack the broken target, do a little bit more brave damage. Yeah, she was already extended, so 23. We're getting very close to 25. Okay, so here, you can see B is basically dead. I get, this is a free turn, so let's see where this ends up. Okay, so unfortunately I killed him, but hopefully one skill will do it. If not, then you'll see I'll quote-unquote waste a turn, as usual. So here I actually may want to, there's a choice. If you think it'll take more than 2 attacks, then you should use your Ver Arrow, because your next turn will be free, so that'll be 24. However, if you think you can kill now, you can just use Enchanted Redoublement here, and I think I can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gamble and use Enchanted Redoublement, and if I don't kill, hopefully the X will be up because the X is free, so either way I should be able to get 24. Okay, there it is. And there's the kill. 24, it's actually my high score. So this has been a good run. And there were still some inefficiencies there, so, you know, with the timing of stats coming back in, I think I definitely could have gone maybe 23. Let's take a quick screenshot of this, but yeah, that was basically my low turn run there. You can see I basically just spam skills nonstop. The key is to always just check if Alisaie is going to jump up ahead of Sats and try to keep her behind when she's at 1 turn on her refreshed dual cast. It can't be the old one, it has to be the new one. So you want to use your S2 Thunder, then recast Fire for the new buff, then Sats wants to buff her. And I'll show my artifacts here. So Alisaie has very good artifacts, not perfect, but very close to perfect. Just need that 1 more star on the acceleration boost. Sats is kind of junky arts. They're okay, but you can see I've still got a 108, 126. So he is obviously not here for the damage, so that's not too bad. And then Lotta has very good arts as well. Not perfect, but pretty close. So that's it, and good luck. Again, playing low turns is a little tricky. I think this game conditions you to use Brave Plus, prevent breaks, try to play safe and conservative, but if you want to go low turns, you just spam skills and don't be afraid to reset or do multiple runs. It really takes, you know, time to learn the characters, learn the rotations, learn when to do what, and just getting over that kind of inner fear of playing a little too fast. But you can see, even though it wasn't a perfect run, I still got a new high score. So good luck and enjoy. Thanks so much.